Welcome back, tennis fans, to what might just be the most electrifying update of the 2026 grass court season. You have tuned in because you saw the title, and you know exactly what is at stake today. We are talking about the absolute blockbuster showdown at the 2026 Berlin Open, the rising sensation from the Philippines, Alexandra Eala, taking on the formidable world number 2, Elena Rybakina. If you are scrambling to find a live stream of this match before it gets taken down, you are not alone. The broadcasting rights landscape in tennis right now is a fractured, complicated maze, and fans around the globe are doing everything they can to witness this monumental clash for free. But before you frantically refresh your browser, sit back, because I'm going to give you the most comprehensive, deeply analytical breakdown of exactly why this match is the talk of the sporting world today, June 18th, 2026. Let us start with the sheer magnitude of this encounter. We are standing on the precipice of Wimbledon, the grandest stage in tennis, and the Berlin Open, played on the pristine, lightning-fast lawns of the Steffi Graf Stadion, is the ultimate proving ground. This is not just a second-round match. This is a generational clash, a tactical masterclass waiting to happen, and a narrative rich with redemption, ambition, and raw power. On one side of the net, you have Elena Rybakina, a woman who has already etched her name into the annals of tennis history. She is the reigning Australian Open champion this year. She reached the finals of Indian Wells, the semifinals of Miami, and lifted the trophy in Stuttgart. Her 2026 season has been nothing short of a juggernaut tour. Rybakina boasts an astonishing 32-9 win-loss record coming into this match. She is the epitome of ice-cool precision, wielding a serve that does not just win points. It shatters opponents' resolve. On the other side of the net, we have the story that is capturing the hearts of millions, Alex Eala. The 21-year-old Filipino wildcard is no longer just a promising prospect. She is a certified threat on the WTA Tour. If anyone doubted her transition to the senior ranks, her recent performances have silenced the critics entirely. Just weeks ago, she captured the WTA 125 Birmingham Open title, her first ever championship on grass. She did not just stumble into the Berlin Open. She arrived with a crown. And her opening match here in Germany, a masterclass of resilience. She took down the newly crowned Queen's Club champion, Donna Vekic, in a commanding straight sets victory 7-5, 6-4. Eala fired 20 winners and 5 aces in that match, proving that she does not just survive on grass. She thrives on it. The history between these two players is brief, but incredibly telling. Just last month, they met on the red clay of the Italian Open in Rome. In that encounter, Rybakina's experience in heavy ball striking proved too much for Eala, as the Kazakh star walked away with a 6-4, 6-3 victory. But make no mistake, that match was closely contested. Eala pushed the world number 2, forcing her to dig deep into her tactical reserves. Now the surface has changed. We are no longer on the slow, high-bouncing clay of Rome. We are on the slick, unpredictable, and unforgiving grass of Berlin. Grass changes everything. It rewards the brave. It amplifies first strikes. It demands impeccable footwork and split-second decision-making. Why is the internet practically breaking as people search for a free live stream of this match? Because this is the kind of tennis that purists dream of. It is the classic matchup of the immovable object meeting the unstoppable force. Rybakina is the established elite, a Grand Slam champion who knows how to navigate the immense pressure of the tour. Eala is a hungry challenger, representing not just herself, but an entire nation that watches her every swing with bated breath. The fragmentation of sports media has made it incredibly frustrating for the average fan to just sit down and watch their favorite players. With broadcasting rights split between various premium networks, streaming apps, and regional providers, a free, accessible broadcast is a rare treasure. That is exactly why when a stream pops up, the urgency to watch it before it is taken down by copyright algorithms is so high. But beyond the broadcasting drama, the real story is the evolution of Alex Eala. We have watched her grow from her junior Grand Slam days into a formidable force on the professional circuit. Her mental fortitude has undergone a massive transformation. In her match against Vekic, play was halted for nearly 10 minutes due to a medical emergency in the stands. For a young player, a delay like that can completely derail momentum. It can cause the muscles to cool down and the mind to wander. But how did Eala respond? She stepped back onto the court and fired an ace to close out the match. That is not just talent. That is elite psychological conditioning. That is the mindset of a champion in the making. And she will need every ounce of that mental steel today against Rybakina, a player who famously shows absolutely no emotion whether she hits a double fault or wins match point. Now, let's transition into the deep dive analysis of this colossal matchup. To truly understand what is going to happen when these two step onto the Steffi Graf Stadium, we have to break down their games at a granular level. Let us analyze the mechanics, the strategies, and the physiological demands of playing on grass in 2026. Grass court tennis is a unique beast. Unlike hard courts, which offer consistent, predictable bounce, or clay courts, which grab a ball and slow it down, grass is a living, breathing surface. As the tournament progresses, the grass wears down, especially around the baseline, changing the way the ball grips the court. The bounce is famously low and skiddy. This means players have to bend their knees significantly more, lowering their center of gravity to get under the ball. It heavily favors players with a dominant first serve and flat, penetrating ground strokes. Spin is less effective here than it is on clay. It is a pace and trajectory that do the damage. This brings us to Elena Rybakina. If you were to build a tennis player specifically engineered to dominate on grass, the blueprint would look a lot like her. Standing at 6 feet tall, she possesses one of the most lethal serves in the history of women's tennis. Her motion is fluid, disguised, and incredibly explosive. She regularly hits speeds that leave returners completely guessing. On grass, where the ball skids through the server's box, a Rybakina first serve out wide is practically unplayable. But it is not just her power, it is her placement. She can hit the tee, she can slice it out wide, and she can kick it just enough to jam the returner. Eala's primary objective today, before she even thinks about hitting winners, is figuring out how to get Rybakina's serve back into play with enough depth to avoid being immediately put on the defensive. But Rybakina is not just a serve bot. Her baseline game is perfectly suited for this surface. She hits the ball incredibly flat. When she steps into a backhand down the line, the ball stays mere inches above the net cord and shoots through the court. Because she does not rely on heavy topspin, the grass perfectly complements her natural striking motion. However, Rybakina's movement has historically been the one area where opponents try to exploit her. Taller players often struggle with the low, unpredictable bounces on grass. They have further to bend, and changing direction quickly can be a challenge. If Eala wants to win this match, she cannot play standard, rhythmic baseline tennis. She has to disrupt Rybakina's timing. She needs to utilize the slice backhand, keeping the ball agonizingly low, forcing Rybakina to hit up on the ball. Let us turn our analytical lens to Alex Eala. The Filipina's game has matured exponentially over the last 2 years. Her forehand has evolved into a major weapon. She generates incredible racket head speed, allowing her to dictate play when she gets the right ball. But what makes Eala so dangerous right now is her confidence. Winning the Birmingham Open was a watershed moment. It proved to her that her movement, which is arguably her greatest asset, translates beautifully to the lawns. Eala is lightning fast. She anticipates incredibly well, and her footwork allows her to get into position early, even on a slippery surface. In her victory over Vekic, Eala showed a profound tactical awareness. She recognized that trying to hit through a powerful opponent on grass is a risky proposition. Instead, she used angles. She used the court's geometry to pull Vekic out of center, opening up space down the line. Against Rybakina, this strategy is paramount. Eala must serve exceptionally well today. She may not have the sheer velocity of Rybakina, but her placement has to be pinpoint. She needs a high first serve percentage to avoid giving Rybakina a look at a weak second serve, because the world number 2 will step inside the baseline and obliterate anything that sits up. The mental aspect of this match cannot be overstated. We are looking at a classic David versus Goliath scenario, but David has been hitting the gym and winning titles. Eala knows she lost to Rybakina on clay. She felt the weight of Rybakina's ball, but she also knows that grass is an entirely different battleground. The pressure today is squarely on Rybakina's shoulders. She is the heavy favorite. She is the world number 2. She is expected to win and win comfortably. Eala is playing with house money. She is a wild card who has already proven she belongs by beating a recent champion in the first round. That sense of freedom can be a terrifying weapon when a player like Eala swings freely, without the paralyzing fear of failure. She can produce tennis that transcends her ranking. Let us dig deeper into the historical context of the Berlin Open. This tournament has a rich legacy of showcasing the best grass court tennis in the world outside of the All-England Club. The Steffi Graf Stadion, named after one of the greatest champions the sport has ever seen, holds an aura of prestige. The crowds here are knowledgeable. They appreciate nuanced tennis, tactical adjustments, and raw effort. When Eala steps onto that court, she is stepping onto hallowed ground. The conditions in Berlin in mid-June can be tricky. If it is hot and dry, the courts play extremely fast, favoring Rybakina. If there is humidity or cloud cover, the ball might move slightly slower, giving Eala a fraction of a second more to set up her defensive replies. These micro-variables often decide the outcome of matches at the highest level. Furthermore, we must analyze the broader implications of this match for the WTA Tour in 2026. The top of the women's game is highly competitive, but a new tier of young stars is aggressively pushing the established elite. Eala represents the vanguard of this new generation. Her success is not just a personal triumph. It is a signal to the rest of the locker room that the hierarchy is vulnerable. If Eala manages to pull off the upset today, it will send shockwaves through the tennis world. It will drastically alter the betting odds and the narrative heading into Wimbledon. It would prove that Rybakina, for all her brilliance, can be dismantled by a younger, faster opponent who executes a flawless tactical game plan. To achieve this, Eala's return of serve will be the ultimate barometer of her success. She cannot afford to stand too far back. On grass, if you stand deep to return a massive serve, the ball will have already skidded and lost its height by the time it reaches you, resulting in a weak defensive slice. Eala must stand her ground, cut off the angles, and use Rybakina's pace against her. It requires incredible hand-eye coordination and a fearless mindset. Eala must trust her reflexes. Even if she gets aced multiple times, she cannot let it dent her confidence. She has to accept that Rybakina will hit unreturnable serves and focus entirely on capitalizing on the second serves. On the flip side, Rybakina's game plan will be relatively straightforward, but execution is key. She will look to dominate the center of the court. She wants to keep the rallies under 4 shots. Serve +1. A massive serve followed by a crushing ground stroke to the open court. Rybakina does not want to get dragged into long, attritional rallies with Eala. She knows the Filipina has the lungs and the legs to run all day. Rybakina will look to dictate from the very first ball, keeping Eala constantly on the back foot, rushing her preparation. If Rybakina's first serve percentage drops below 60%, that is when the door opens for Eala. As we wrap up this extensive deep dive and look toward the climax of this incredible sporting narrative, we have to marvel at the journey of both these athletes. This match is a collision of trajectories. Elena Rybakina is fighting to maintain her iron grip on the top tier of women's tennis, solidify her status as the undisputed queen of the grass courts heading into Wimbledon. Alexandra Eala is fighting for recognition, for history, and for the realization of her boundless potential. She is carrying the hopes of the Philippines, a nation fiercely passionate about its sporting heroes, and she is doing it with a grace and ferocity that is captivating the global tennis community. For those of you still hunting for that elusive free live stream before it gets taken down, remember what you are watching. You are not just watching a second-round match in Berlin. You are watching a masterclass in athletic problem-solving. You are watching a chess match played at 100 miles per hour on a slippery lawn. Eala's speed, angles, and youthful fearlessness against Rybakina's towering presence, devastating power, and championship pedigree. If Alex Eala wins this match, it will be the biggest victory of her young career. It will validate every grueling training session at the Rafa Nadal Academy, every sacrifice made by her and her family, and every ounce of belief her fans have poured into her. A victory would propel her up the rankings, guaranteeing her better draws and more lucrative opportunities. More importantly, it would give her the ultimate psychological armor. Beating the world number 2 on grass is the ultimate proof of concept. If Elena Rybakina wins, it reaffirms the natural order of the current WTA landscape. It shows that while the youth are talented, there is no substitute for Grand Slam winning experience and raw, unadulterated power. It would be a statement to the rest of the tour that she is the overwhelming favorite for the Wimbledon title, capable of neutralizing even the most informed challengers with cold, calculated efficiency. The Steffi Graf Stadium is waiting. The grass is freshly cut. The stakes could not be higher. I want you to drop your predictions in the comments right now. Can Alex Eala execute the perfect tactical game plan and shock the world? Or will Elena Rybakina's sheer power simply overwhelm the rising star? Whatever happens, this is a match that will be talked about long after final ball is struck. Thank you for joining me for this comprehensive breakdown. Be sure to subscribe for more deep dive sports analysis. Stay tuned to the channel for post-match reactions and enjoy the phenomenal tennis that is about to unfold.